We are doing a series thinking about how we find God in our everyday, normal, mundane, run-of-the-mill life. It is one of the most important contexts, I believe, for being a disciple, for learning how God is at work in and through us. And for this series, we are going to hear from different people's stories about how God is involved in their lives in normal way that hopefully inspire us and encourage us ways that we might find God. So today we're going to hear two stories, and there's kind of a theme about homes. Of all the elements in our life, perhaps one of the most everyday is our home, something that we can take totally for granted or is kind of an invisible part of the fabric of our lives. We come home, close the doors, we're in our house, and then the next day we leave to do whatever it is we have to do. We may have thoughts about what we want from our homes, but I'm not sure we terribly often give thought to what God might want from our homes. And even the place where we live, we might feel we ended up where we were through a number of random circumstances of what was available and what fell through, what we could afford. And yet the Bible tells us that God has an actual strategy. He has a plan for us. And rather than ending up in random places, he puts us where he wants us to shine. So we're going to hear today from Josh and Lizzie, who are exploring what it means to live in a location, to have their home amongst neighbours, and what God might be doing through them and what they are learning about God through this. And then we're going to hear from Sarah and Alex about the work they do along with a number of other people at Crosslines, feeding people who either don't have homes or are in very insecure housing. This is about how we respond to need and how we discover God in that act of responding, how he helps us do it and how he is involved at such a deep level. So sit back and enjoy these shows, and we will come back at the end and just talk about it.
Let's just start talking. You ready? Yeah. Oh, we moved in here about 5 years ago or so, I suppose at the time I was just about to leave my job, and I knew that we'd have less money and stuff for a time, so getting a mortgage would be hard. So we thought it was a time to move. So we looked and we. Yes, Sammy? Oh, that's Dave's phone. Don't worry about that, Sam. And then, anyway, we just felt it was the right time to move, looking to the future of having a family, because we lived in a small flat.
Yeah, so once we moved in, I think it was really weighing on my heart quite a lot, and Josh's heart, about getting to know our neighbours and trying to be part of the community and, yeah, build a relationship with our neighbours, which I felt we hadn't done very much at the flat. With our hub, we kind of shared that it was really on our heart. So it kind of became a big focus for me and Josh in our hub. From there, God just started doing amazing things. Just like quite early on, we realised that our opposite neighbours had been opposite us in the flat, and they'd moved over here, which was really crazy. And then we got to know them, and just like people just came out and were really nice. We've had a real experience of God showing us what it means to be a good neighbour and have good community, because the neighbours here came out and showed us, even if we avoided it. So, yeah, when we started leading our hub, the emphasis was around like geographical things, which kind of helped us think what's around us, what's in our area, and that really cemented to us this desire to kind of get to know our neighbours and have fellowship with our neighbours. But I think your kind of natural instinct when you're thinking we're doing something with the church is that it's going to look really religious, and like, I know we'll start running a church for the whole street from our home or whatever. And I think the emphasis at Vineyard was more about kind of fellowship and community, and we really realised through what our neighbours kind of were like and how they blessed us, was that it's more personal, and like we've just got to know everyone's name and we say hi as we walk past them, things like that. And that's just changed the feel of the street, which has been amazing. It's a more personal God experience, I think. So as a hub, I remember we sat down and did a kind of praying time, listening and trying to work out what to be doing. And we had quite a few words actually that we noted down, and one of them was to do with painting. And so we were like, oh great, let's get on with painting. So I was asking some of the neighbours, do you want anything painting? And they were like, no, not really. And then we felt like we hadn't sort of been following God there. But then it turns out a bit later down the line, someone wanted to reopen this community shop. And so we offered then, do they want any painting? And they were like, yes. So that was really nice. Kind of circled free. Yeah, I guess like another layer of it as well. Like I wanted to help with the shop, so I got involved in the steering committee. But it meant I got to know people. And I think, again, where God's kind of led us is just getting to know. We're trying to get to know the names of all the volunteers. We're just trying to be more friendly. And
Yeah, Sam's just gone in and said, hi, Sarah.
It's just such a lovely feel that I think God's kind of stepped us into. Do you know what I mean? It feels like family on the street. It's really nice.
Yeah, so I suppose just from living here, we just become more open to what God's has for us here. There's just such lovely people around. I think we are getting so much. I think God's revealing in us so much through people around us, and just through those relationships and building community. So we're just excited really about what God's got for us left, and we're going to try and look for more opportunities to build those relationships. Yeah.
One of the things that I felt prompted to, particularly when we were doing the discipleship group, was to pray for some of the neighbours, specifically just for things that are going on in their lives. And we've already seen answers to prayer. It's been really amazing, and it's kind of just got me really excited about God doing things right in front of us, in our everyday and part of our lives. So yeah, just want to keep praying for them all and see what God has to bless them, because they've blessed us so much.
I think that's the thing. I think the main thing we found is the more essentially we push into where God's leading us with making relationships with our neighbours, the more we're being blessed from it. Just the other day, someone helping us out with a washing machine, helping out when something went wrong with the house to come and fix it, borrowing tools from neighbours. Someone came round to give Sam a present. Just stuff like that. We just feel so blessed by it all. Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah.
This is Crossline here in this kitchen. So this venue is used by lots of groups to provide food and clothing for people who are struggling on the streets or not got very much money. On Monday nights, a team from Extra Vineyard serve here every week. So about 20 years ago, a team had been running the kitchen here on Mondays, and the lady who ran it was in her 70s and had been doing an amazing job, but was really, really not able to cope anymore. So she approached myself and the church to see whether we would get involved and take it on. So we've been doing that for 6 years.
So I got involved just over a couple of years ago, just before lockdown. And for me, someone gave me a nudge. I think it was probably my wife who gave me a nudge about it. So I came down and did one session with a couple of the team members. I really enjoyed it. And for me, I find it's a great opportunity to put my faith in action. We learn about these things, and now is an actual chance to show, the Christian faith and actually, like I say, put my faith into action. So when I first started, I had no idea what it was like. And initially, when I first came, it was just a little bit overwhelming because we had everybody inside. Here it was in the time where we could still cater for people inside the actual location. And but once you start talking to people, and you find that everybody's so grateful, and there's some really fantastic people that you work with, and also people that you meet, the clients as well. And so since then, I've sort of gone on in confidence and really enjoyed it.
I think for me, the best thing, I think, is when you come and you interact with people who are either defensive or sad, or, you know, all sorts going on for them. And then by the end of the evening, you've got a few smiles and you've made them feel really valued and welcome. And I think it's scary, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that sometimes some people, as you say, when they first get here, you know, they're tired, they're hungry, they're angry, you know, they're upset about something. And as soon as you can just give them a cup of tea or coffee, give them some hot food, and you just find that their demeanour changes. And by the end of it, you know, they want to talk to you about, you know, some of them will come out and say, will you pray with me? Or can you talk to me about this? I just need somebody to talk to. And they will totally open up. And it's amazing what just, you know, a little bit of love and a little bit of, you know, hot food and a hot drink does to people just in a very short space of time.
So the Bible verse we've sort of adopted as our Crosslines tagline is the one from Matthew 25, and it's whatever you've done for the least of these, you've done for me.
And I think that's the point is, you know, in our church, and when we talk about all the things that we're learning, you know, we're all in a very safe church environment, and it's very easy to help each other. And when you come here and volunteer and help, you know, we're seeing Jesus in all of these people, and you know, he's asking for our help through these people. These people need our help, and that's what's so satisfying about doing this. I met one guy one night, right at the end of the night, a young guy called David, who was in his early 30s, and through talking to him, it was clear that he didn't have a bed for the night at all. But he was looking for a job. He just wanted to get out of the position he was in. We managed to have a tent here that I found during a session, and I gave it to him right at the end. And you know, I was like, there you go, there's your tent. I found, you know, a tent for you, somewhere to stay for the night, but it became clear he'd never put up a tent in his life. So I actually went and helped him that night find somewhere just to locate him. And then over the course of the next few weeks, I managed to help him just with his basic needs, and, you know, took him to a couple of interviews just to get some actual other help from other agencies in the city. And then since then, he sort of moved on. I haven't actually heard from him since, but I hope that's good news, and that in a way that we were able to provide a little bit more and really get him on the first step to kind of getting out of the position that he was in. So that was definitely satisfying and rewarding.
So thinking about worshipping through serving, I think one of the things that I often hear when people chat to me about Crosslines is about being called to do it. And I think some people are called to certain groups of people, but I feel for me, actually I'm not necessarily the person I would choose to do this, and it's really out of my comfort zone, and it's still 6 years in, out of my comfort zone. But I feel like actually it was more about I was in that place at the right time, and I was the person that was close to it, so why wouldn't I say yes when somebody asked for help? And so I think it can sound really easy when people say, oh, it's really rewarding, but it's not necessarily easy, and I think worship isn't always easy.
So I'd really recommend, if you'd like to give it a go, then by all means come and, you know, help out for one session. You can just give it a go and come and meet the people, meet the teams, and meet the clients as well. It's such a rewarding experience. You know, I can't begin to tell you how much I've learned really, and God has taught me through this process, and it has opened my eyes, and I feel, you know, more spiritually developed, more confident in my belief and in my faith. And again, for me, I feel I'm actually doing something practical to help people. So I definitely recommend it. You can come and just try it for one session, and if you don't like it, that's fine. But you know, it's very rewarding and enjoyable.
Yeah, so you can help actually inside, which is because all the clients come outside to eat. We set up gazebos when it's wet and things like that, and serve food. So you can be inside in a kind of safer space, maybe away from the crowd.
And for me, what I found is I really enjoy serving outside. I really enjoy meeting the people that were serving, the clients, and talking to them and chatting with them, and hopefully getting the opportunity to pray.
Yeah, so if you want to get involved, come and chat to me or Alex. And for most people, it's serving once a month for a couple of hours, or you can serve by cooking a meal once a month from your home, and we can kind of get it here hot and ready to serve.
So I hope you enjoyed those insights. The idea behind these isn't just that they are interesting stories, but these could be prompts for God to speak to us. And that is something we should be considering. How does God want us to use our home, to treat our neighbours, to be aware of our position? And perhaps connected with that, how does God want us to respond to need when we see it around? Maybe you would like to explore getting involved with Crosslines, but it is the same principle when you have colleagues, neighbours, friends who are in need. We get to serve them out of our life with Jesus, and in doing so we are actually serving Jesus. So take a moment and consider those questions. What is God saying to you? Is it something about your home, your location? Is it something about need that you can get involved in? So Father, we want to discover you increasingly in our everyday life, to know that you are present, to realise that we get to respond to you, that we get to work alongside you, for our lives, our whole lives, to be turned into worship, and to discover that we don't need to do this in our own strength, but we can receive from your resources. So speak to us, I pray, about what's going on in our lives and how you want to be more involved. Come, Holy Spirit.